All right, today in the kitchen with Jelly, old Jelly007.com, I'm going to show you the world's best homemade ice cream recipe in the world. And that would be the world's best in the world. And it's simple, and we're going to cut right to it. And right there it is, 1 quart of heavy cream, 1 quart of half and half, and 1 quart of whole milk. All right, that's all the liquid. I mean, it's simple. It's easy to remember. A quart, and a quart, and then 3 cups of sugar, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of vanilla flavoring, and then a few other things we got to do, which is heat up the milk to get that sugar to melt a little bit better, a little bit better than it would in just cold milk. And that's it. And it's Father's Day, and there's what I got. So anyhow, we're fixing to do that. We're going to get started with it right now. And one other thing I'll say, here's something else. I mean, you don't have to have a white mountain, but I ain't going to lie, it helps. A lot of ice and a lot of salt. Because the faster you freeze it, the better it is. So, going to get it started. I'll be right back. Okay, for the record, right quick, I add the 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, kosher salt to the sugar. I'm going to wait till bubbles form around the edge here, maybe. I mean, I'm either going to do that or I'm going to watch my temp. You know, I'll wait for bubbles. It's no big deal. And you can see I'll try and figure out where the bubbles form at, but I don't know if you need to know that. As long as you watch for the bubbles just right around the edge. That's as hot as you want to get the milk. And then we're going to pour that sugar in it and just stir it. I may lower the heat a little bit after that, stir it a little bit, and stir it till it's dissolved. That's why it's not rigid that you have to get bubbles around it. You just want it definitely warmer than the refrigerator. It's just to help aid in melting the sugar and the salt. So when it gets a little bit closer to that, I'm going to pour it in, and I'll show you what it looks like once we've stirred it up. And then we'll add our other liquids kind of to cool it down. And this is where I'm doing it. I'm going to do it in my sink because it's rough weather out there today. It's hot on top of that, but it's thunder and lightning too. So we're going to do it right here. I'll be right back. Okay, if you look, I'm not sure you'll be able to see it, but you can see bubbles forming around the edges right now. That's about where we want it. That's where I want it. I'm not sure what temp we're looking for. I guess you could research that to what. You don't want to get too hot; it'll start burning, obviously, on the bottom. That's 150, 155. I may have pulled that out, but it's still going to be right at 155, 160. And what we're going to do now is add that sugar and stir it, obviously, as we put it in. So, I'm going to put a little bit in here, and I'm trying to do this. I'm going to have to do that different. I am not left-handed. Okay, it's time. I stirred the milk until I couldn't feel any more granules on the bottom. That's really all it's about. I mean, heat and getting the sugar to melt, as I said. All right, now, it's as simple as this. You just pour this in. And as you can see, all that sugar melted. But to be positive, if you want to be positive, pour a little milk, pour the cream in there, because you're going to put a quart of this, a quart of half and half, and a quart of milk. And we already put the quart of milk and the 3 cups of sugar. There goes that. Here comes the quart of heavy whipping cream. Now this, by the way, is a 6-quart freezer, so that does matter. And make sure everything looks good, and it does. And then a quart of half and half. I shook it real well before I took the caps off. And we are really close to nothing but putting the ice in and adding the salt. Now, I ain't gonna lie, the salt means a bunch. It makes it freeze faster. So I always use at least 2 boxes. I mean, I got more, so it's very possible I'll use more. It just depends on how it's freezing. 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And we are ready to put the lid on. And now I'll get the ice, pour the ice around it, we'll put the motor on it, and we'll turn it on. Be right back. Okay, I'm not going to lie. When I start this, it's going to be noisier than you can imagine, and you're not going to be able to hear me. So at this point, I'm going to add some salt. You know, whether it matters or not, because the salt's going to melt and run down on all the ice. I added about halfway. I put more ice on top, obviously, and put more salt. So that being said, I'm not sure I need to show much more of this. I mean, till it's done, or it's just what it looks like. Just fill it up with ice and keep pouring the salt to it, because you want this thing to stall out as soon as possible, and that's all there is to it. So I'm going to let that go because it makes noise, a lot of noise. So anyhow, I'll be back when it's done, most likely. Just want to show, you can hear it slowing down. That's after 30 minutes. That is a 16-pound bag of ice. I had 2 of them. And this is the second box, which is about half full of ice cream salt. It's hunkering down, but I'm going to wait till it comes to a complete stop. Okay, it just came to a stop. This is why I love the White Mountain 98 degrees on that motor. I mean, it does what it does. I'm going to unplug it because it just hunkered to a stop in exactly 37 minutes. Now, I used two 16-pound bags of ice minus, say, I don't know, 5 pounds. Almost 2 boxes of salt. Well, about a box and a half. But you get it done quick, and that's what makes ice cream good. The faster it freezes, they say the smaller the crystals. Makes it creamier, makes it smoother, more velvety, whatever you want to say. But anyhow, I'm shutting this off, and we're going to get that ready here in just a minute, and I'll show you what a bowl looks like. Okay, now one thing I will say is you want to always, it works real well in the sink because you can drop all the ice you dig off the top and put it right here where if you need it again, you got it. But mainly, clean this lid because it's got salt and whatever. And you just clean the lid off and you get it below the lip of the vessel or the chamber, the ice cream tub. And then... And I mean, this is why I say what I say. One thing, the White Mountain does this great. But also, just using enough ice and enough salt is you get that right there. I mean, look at that. That is perfect ice cream, well frozen. And I'm going to tell you something. I guarantee you, I'm going to taste it. It's excellent. It's the best ice cream recipe in the world, like I said. So I'm gonna have to get this out of here where I can be able to get this dasher out of there. But we're gonna dip right off of it just like this to begin with. But the longer you leave it in that, it's really cold, so it will try and freeze a little more. But it's not going anywhere. We're gonna leave it right here and just eat out of it tonight, and then I'll set it out and let it soften to pull the dasher out. But I'm telling you something, people. This is good. It's the world's best ice cream. I'm not just saying that. It really is. Anyhow, jelly007.com. Y'all come back to see me. And if you can't find me, it's Mr. Jelly007 on YouTube. I say it every once in a while. There's no dashes, no dots, no spaces. Just Mr. Jelly007.com. Other than that, www.jelly007.com. Hey, y'all have a good day. Happy Father's Day to everybody. And come back to see me. Make some ice cream.